I'll give you a link when I have one. And guys, welcome to the Meltdown show. The We just lost to Mississippi State 26-22 Meltdown show.
At
Hey
home.
Casey, how you doing over there?
Shut up.
Oh my
I wanna
god.
go
All
to
right.
bed.
This is going to be a great one tonight, guys. Hope everybody's ready
Mm,
cuz boy, it's going to be rough. Let's see what we got. Got to get the link for the listeners, whoever they are.
yeah. The listener.
Yeah, come one, come all. All right,
Yeah.
we're having fun here, no?
Well, I should say, so the origin of the Meltdown show was to kind of talk about the meltdown happening on Texags after the game. And it's pretty epic right now. I'm not going to lie. We got somebody hoping Jimbo leaves. Um, worst quarterback play in the modern A&M history. Maybe. Um,
Wow.
we paid 75 million for an Orange Bowl. Uh, oh, stop it! We're never going to win. Sure.
Well, look, I'm sure it is pretty epic out there. I start getting the text from the casual A&M football fan on
Oh
nights like
no.
this.
Yeah.
The ones who really don't pay attention to what's going on in this program and just like to lob the
Hmm.
grenades when things are bad or they're not going according to plan. Shoot, I should probably read that. That text is, something like, even a great instrument needs a great musician, and we have neither right now. I don't
What
know,
the
some
fuck is
garbage.
that supposed to mean?
Garbage.
Gee, garbage.
Look, I don't know how to get into this one other than to say, I think we expected to lose to Arkansas. We actually expected that based on what we had seen and
Right.
what we lost. And but we were somewhat optimistic that we could come home and we could make enough progress on the offensive side, and the defense could play well enough to keep us in a football game, give the offense a chance to score some points and win a game at home. Uh, However, again, just like last week, the team comes out pregame warmups, and all of a sudden we got a really long list of dudes who aren't going to play. And I think we kind of freaked out a little bit about that. And you knew that it was going to be an uphill climb, but still thought this team would get it together and go out and play well enough to win. At least that's how I came into it. How did you feel about 30 minutes before kickoff when a lot of this news started rolling out?
Yeah, kind of the same, except I'm looking at Aki being out and thinking that's probably not good because that means Green's going to keep playing guard, which I was really hoping he wouldn't. I was hoping he would move out to tackle. Um, but you pointed out that the loss of Miles Jones and George behind him worried you even more. And I think he turned out to be right because I want to say up front, the offensive line play was not good, but it wasn't that bad. And
It
so,
wasn't that bad. In fact, there were times tonight where they were downright nasty. And
right,
against a defensive line that is pretty good and has actually stopped the run. Look, they're not great, but
right.
against that lineup, I thought at times they really did start to come together. When I saw the starting lineup, even with Aki out, I kind of thought, man, that's at least at left guard and at right guard and right tackle, I felt pretty good about it. Jameer Johnson has been okay. He's just been
Yeah,
okay. All
yeah.
right.
And he was
And
okay tonight. He was fine. He wasn't that
he was
bad.
fine. But what we did see were some really, really timely breakdowns
Right.
between our center and our guards, and it cost us
Hmm.
big time. The big, big sack. What was that? A third and 4 inside the red zone.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely. Guy comes free right up the middle, gets the sack. Zach, I can't even blame him for not having a hot read there. It was so fast. And,
yeah,
from what we've seen with him, he ain't going to process that quick.
right.
Snap the ball, there's a big dude right in his face. But they were okay. And we ran the ball at times really well. And it allowed us to get back in the game for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
And you saw a
We've
lot of
just,
people screaming to keep running it and keep running it. And I actually think Jimbo did a fair job of trying to commit to the running game. But there were times where it blew up so badly in his face that he didn't have a choice. That it would be okay, and then all of a sudden, huge mistakes on the line put us at like second and 15. You know,
yeah,
uh,
absolutely. I don't know how many times I saw, and actually, this is really starting to get really frustrating and it seems to happen when Six is in the game and he's positioned back there right next to the quarterback, and we're going to run some kind of, left right sweep, and the defense seems to know exactly what's coming. They're running to the line at the snap, and we don't do anything to disrupt that at all. It's like we just let it happen. In other words, I mean, it's obvious what they're doing, and we're going to go ahead and snap the ball, and they just overwhelm, and
yeah,
it's a 3 or 4 yard loss all the time.
I have to say that is really frustrating. It's frustrating when we're on offense, and I think some of that is a product of taking so long to get either to the line or the play in, or for the quarterback to figure out what's going on. And it's that is frustrating, but it's even more frustrating on the other side when other teams seem to be constantly able to disrupt what we're trying to do to confuse them pre-snap or to catch them off guard. You saw that over and over and over again tonight. Rogers, is that his name? For Mississippi State, um, able to see whatever pressure or coverage swap we were trying to get going, and to wait and let his guys reset, and be ready for it and have the right, you know, check or just know where he needs to go with the football over and over and over again. And that's one of those things that, as an A&M fan, you're just getting really tired of other teams being able to do to us and us not being able to do to them.
Yeah, and look, I do think the problem that we just walked through. Zach's not going to hold that ball. He's not going to keep that ball, right? That's not even really in the playbook anymore on those types of plays. And I don't know. I don't know if that's really an answer that we're just missing because we can't do it. But it is frustrating. I do think one thing that could help, like you said, is get to the line. And if you're going to run it, let's run it. Don't give them the time to walk down a safety
Hmm.
or get that linebacker right up in a gap right at the snap, because you're letting the play clock run down so much. They're just timing it up on the play clock. They know
Right.
when
They
to
don't
get
have
up
to
there.
jump to snap. They know you're going
Yeah,
to snap it at 2 seconds.
exactly. So
Yeah.
so many times tonight, second and 15, second and 14. Very, very frustrating. But again, running the football wasn't our problem tonight. It really wasn't. We just had some really bad self-inflicted wounds that killed drives, killed them.
Mhm.
And, you know, I got to start with a quarterback. I'm not optimistic that that's going to get better because I've just
No.
seen it now for 4 games. I see the exact same thing. I see a guy that's bailing on pressure that's not there. I see a guy that's backing up and airmailing throws over guys that are open. He missed
Hmm.
Wiedemeyer for a huge play. Okay, and I heard somebody complaining that he didn't throw it to Anias underneath for the first down. Dude, Wiedemeyer he was
That's
wide
the
open.
throw. You have to
That
throw that
is the
ball,
throw. Gotta
but you
throw
have
it.
to step into it.
Yeah, you got to plant your
Yeah,
feet when your running back is making a great pickup on a blitz and your line is holding up. You got to plant your feet and throw that football. He didn't do it. And then later in the game, with Anias breaking open in the back corner, and look, I don't love that throw to Anias, and I'm not saying I don't love the play. I don't love Anias in running that play because that throw has to be on the money. But
right.
my goodness, again, didn't plant the feet and make the throw. Right? It was backing up. His feet were wide. And
Yeah,
when he doesn't have his footwork, the ball's going high.
right.
Yeah. So very frustrating. I don't see it getting better. I don't see enough in the arsenal, and I don't see the decision making as a pattern to give me any sort of belief that uh, this thing is going to operate at any sort of level of efficiency enough to win in these games.
Right.
And you know, I actually thought the wide receivers played okay tonight. You know, Demas had the one go off his back shoulder, still should have caught it. Um, you
Absolutely.
know, for the most part, dudes did catch the football. We didn't have a lot of the drops that we've seen in other games this year, and I even saw better blocking from the tight end group, except for 42. But I thought Wiedemeyer actually played a good game in the
He was
run
fine.
blocking tonight.
Yes. Yep.
Did his
Uh,
job.
Still no Baylor Cup, like you said.
Yep.
Uh, 42 whiffed on a massive block on the edge with a chain and a full head of steam. Uh, I mean, cost us another at least 15 yards, but you never know with a guy like a chain because once he gets rolling, uh, man, sometimes he makes something crazy happen. So who knows? But and that was, I think, kind of a drive killer. I know it was kind of an early down, but yeah, I've just had it. I've had it with that. I don't understand it. Baylor Cup was not one of the guys we were told wasn't warming up or anything, so I completely don't get it.
Well, one of our listeners, Brendan, says Cup was in the game. We'll go back and look. I didn't see him,
Yeah.
but I trust you, and we'll go double check. But he wasn't in enough. Wasn't in enough to notice, and
What
that's
number is
frustrating.
Baylor Cup, Brendan? You tell us, and then I'll believe you.
Well, let's see. Better respond quick,
You
buddy.
better respond quickly. No, he's
Yeah.
looking at the
Nope.
roster. I don't believe you.
Yep. He
Yep.
is.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well. Anyway.
Well, I think, yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I don't see it getting a lot better. And, I think I said last week, if it wasn't on this show, it was on the boards or something, or maybe just rolling around in my head. Like, we're all hoping Haynes King comes back, but what evidence do we really have that Haynes King is better? He's played one game against a bad football team, but that said, I think what we've seen tonight is I think we need to put to bed the notion that there was any sort of real quarterback competition in the offseason. And that whatever
Yeah.
Jimbo has said in the media about that is purely to not kill the confidence of his backup quarterback that is now been thrust into the spotlight here.
Yep. I think
And
you're
look,
dead right.
because look, Zach was beat by Haynes King last year when Haynes King just walked on campus. So I think we need to, yeah, we need to give up on that. I think now we don't know what Haynes King's going to look like when he comes back cold after not practicing, playing, whatever. But if he's healthy, he needs to go because
Well, here's what I'm going to say on that because I've seen a few folks, say, "Well, we don't know what we really have." I think we do in some regards. And going back to the times that the kid did step on the field and play last year, to the spring game, to what we did see in one full game this year, we're seeing in my mind, some consistent attributes in all of those instances that I was really looking forward to seeing, and I think was really important to this team. And folks got to remember, coming into this season, the high ranking and the big expectations were built on a really strong defense, being able to get an offensive line together in the first couple of games that was going to excel, and getting a new quarterback that had tremendous upside, some experience, and get rolling. The ranking was based on the potential of this football team. It was not based on what what was really known. It was based on the potential and where it was going to get to. And you know, Haynes King was a big part of that. There's a reason that even though it was a quarterback competition, nobody really ever talked about Zach Calzada when talking about the expectations for the football team. They
including some of the
saw,
players.
yeah, including the players. Okay, they weren't talking about Zach, and uh, Haynes King was a decisive runner, a guy that can hurt you with his legs. Okay, more so than Mond ever did. He absolutely can do that. The biggest disappointment to me in the entire season is that he actually got hurt on a play where he
Where he was
hesitated,
indecisive. Yeah.
and I was shocked by it, and I hadn't seen that, and really frustrated he hurt himself, because of it, and didn't get the first down. So, but he is a decisive runner. We actually have enough evidence to know that. He seems to be willing to throw the football. He's a fearless thrower of the football, even when he makes mistakes. And he did make mistakes in that first game of the year. He came right back out on the field and he attacked the middle of the field. Right? He seems to have some touch on being able to throw the football. He knows when to fling it and how to put some touch on the ball to running backs, to tight ends. He had a knack for playing the position that we're not seeing right now at all. And so that's why you and I have been extremely pessimistic about where this thing is going in the short term. But it really hasn't changed how I feel about it in the long term, even after today. So, because I saw some signs. I saw some signs up front that there might be an offensive line forming.
I
And
completely agree on
yeah,
that. And frankly, what I saw tonight, if you'd have told me we were going to get that before the game, I would have been very confident that we win.
yeah,
But it seems like if we want Calzada to play at any kind of high level, it's going to have to be an elite offensive line that
yes.
allows him to just stand back there as long as he wants. And I don't think we're going to get that for several weeks. So, and maybe not this season at all. So, um,
Yeah.
that's
Well, we
that's the
will
most
see.
disappointing thing tonight. Yeah.
We will see. Look, I think Fathery is absolutely the guy at one of the tackle spots.
Hmm.
I would love to see him back on the left side because that would mean Green is over on the right
Uh-huh.
and Aki is back and Robinson is back. And, it's, man, I still really worry about center. I think Bryce Foster is going to be an All-American. I think
Yeah.
he will be, but that's not what he is right now. He's
Right.
a guy that, we saw it, like we said, we don't know who was supposed to pick up
Yeah.
the blitzer, but it was a breakdown. And then we had the bad snap at the
Hmm.
worst possible time. That's a 16-yard loss.
I will say, we did see missed assignments on somebody, and just the law of averages says at least some of them were on Foster, uh,
Yeah,
true freshman, whatever. But what I didn't notice today, and maybe I just missed it because there was so much other stuff breaking down, but I didn't notice today Foster getting shoved 5 yards into the backfield and blowing up the
right.
play. So maybe he's improving on that respect, and next week he'll improve incrementally a little bit more in other areas. I don't know, but it is starting to show flashes of where it could be here in a few weeks.
Yeah, and I, honestly, I thought like we talked about earlier, wide receivers caught the passes. They actually they ran some really good routes. Jalen Preston is making the most
Yeah,
of his opportunity. I think, was it you that tweeted this out earlier that you've been really impressed with him after the catch? I thought I
No,
saw
it
that.
wasn't me,
Okay. Well, but I
but
do
I
think he's
am.
done a good job.
Yeah,
And, Anais made some plays tonight. Man, we caught this when it happened live. Um, he should have had a huge punt return, and it got called back for a penalty that was garbage
yeah,
and absolutely should not have been called at midfield. And that's been happening a lot. We've seen more penalties further into the return than we're used to seeing. Usually, you see them back at the catch or within
right.
10 yards of the catch, and guys are busting their butts to block up field because Anais keeps getting these great returns. And the one tonight was pretty ticky tack. I thought it was pretty terrible.
It was awful.
It was.
It was awful. It
Yeah.
was away from the play. It didn't affect the play at all. The guy got into his shoulder and had token contact with his hand on the guy's back, like after the dude was already falling down. It's just
Yeah.
horrible.
It was horrible.
But whatever.
Well, look. That's a
It
lot
didn't
about the
matter.
offense. A lot about the offense. We need to pivot over to the defensive side of the football. Uh,
We
Mississippi State
do.
scored 26 points tonight. I would lay 21 of those points at the feet of the defense. 3 of those came on a Demas interception on the very first drive, and we held them to a field goal. They really didn't do anything. Defense held,
2 points on a
and
safety.
and we got the safety. So I'm gonna pull this up because I don't want to get it wrong. But I think if you had told me coming in that we would hold Mississippi State's offense to 21 points, again, it wouldn't have surprised me, and I would have thought we'd had a chance to win the football game. I would have thought it'd
Right.
been close,
Yeah.
but I would have thought we would have won the football game.
Uh,
Mississippi State this year, 25 against LSU, 35 against Louisiana Tech, 24 against NC State, 29 in their loss to Memphis. They're not setting the world on fire, but if you have watched them, they have gotten better as the season has gone on. And I thought they would be a tough matchup for us. And, I thought the defense made the plays when they needed to. I was pretty late in the game. Uh,
yeah. It's taken us longer than it should to be generating pressure. There's been a lot of
well,
griping about the amount of cushion we're giving and rushing
yeah,
three and all of that. And I will say, I rushing three and occasionally four, I think was a fine game plan. I didn't like that when we did rush three, it seemed to be the same every time all night. Like we didn't do much to try to confuse that line. Um, and so I'm not one that said, "Hey, we need to be blitzing." I think that is poison against a Mike Leach offense. They griped about it during the RC era when Leach was beating us most of the time, and
yeah,
it was not smart then. It's not smart now, but you've got to get pressure with just three or four. Um, but you've got to figure out a way to do it, and just having your guys rush from the wide nine position wasn't getting it done. You got to figure something else out.
yeah,
So
you
that was
do.
frustrating.
And I don't know if you got, yeah, whatever. It was tough. Um, but guys didn't make plays. I got really frustrated when one media writer out of Houston was talking about how our guys look like they don't know what's coming. I thought they absolutely knew what was coming. I thought it was
Mhm.
pretty obvious they knew what was coming. They rush 3, they drop 8, they're covering space, and what's the job? The job is to tackle the guy that catches it underneath.
Right.
And they didn't do that at times and gave up some big plays. They had plays where it should have been a 4-yard loss on a little screen outside, had it beautifully covered up, and somehow the guy slipped underneath, about 6 defenders cutting all the way back across the field.
Hmm.
Back-breaking plays that wear you out, plays that frustrate you.
Hmm.
But there was just a lot of missed tackles tonight in space, a lot. Until late in the game, to be honest, I thought they did a much better job. I felt like I think Hansford struggled early, but I thought he played really well late in the game.
Uh-huh.
The guy who surprisingly had a really bad night was Jalen Jones, number 17. Uh, Multiple huge plays given up in one-on-one coverage. I don't really fault him for the first one. He had great coverage with the guy, but the guy had outside leverage on the route and created. It was a beautiful pass, beautiful, perfect for that guy to make that play on it. But I thought, look, I don't know what corner in the league makes that play with that throw from that position. So I didn't really fault him for that, but again, it was one of many. He gave up the other touchdown, which was extremely unfortunate because it looked like he got tripped up in coverage. Again, he's right there with the receiver. He's on his back hip. It's a play right
Right.
down the seam. And to make matters worse, the ball was underthrown because there was a safety over the top. And because it was underthrown, if he doesn't get tripped up,
Yeah.
it could have been an interception. It's a pass breakup, probably at worst. And another big play on his ledger. There was another one outside. Again, it was a frustrating night for him.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for that guy.
And look, you're right, especially on that play, but and I hate to keep harping on the offense, but those are the breaks you get sometimes when you challenge teams down the field.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the defense, it took them too long to get going. Again, I've seen people say, well, Haynes King's not going to play defense, so obviously we've got bigger problems. And like you said, giving up 21 points to this team isn't that bad. When your offense is got so much utility going on, you can tell the defense is tired. It is wearing on them, having the weight of the team dumped on them over and over and over again with 3, 4, maybe 6 play drives and punt. You can tell that wears a team out. The number of plays wears them out, and um, I think that would help them to just move the chains every once in a while. And I think it would help the offense to take a chance. Jimbo's mentioned about how often he calls a deep shot, and I'm sitting there thinking, why do we have to call a deep shot from the huddle? Why does your offense not have a deep option for the quarterback to read
Yeah.
post snap sometimes, right? To say, you know what, I like this matchup. Let's take the chance here. Uh, I I don't know, but like we said, Jimbo is who he is. The offense is what it is. It's what we paid for, and it's not going to operate at a high level without exactly what Jimbo wants at every position.
Yes. Yes. And you can get in an argument with people all day long. Well, then we need something that's more quarterback friendly. And we need something that you can plug and play players into. That's fine. That's fine if you want to be Mississippi State.
Right.
That's fine if you want to be Florida, or your goal, is to be what Auburn's really been the last several years under Malzahn. Okay, which is okay. That's good. That's great. But that's actually not what you're paying for. You're actually paying for elite. You're paying for something that can get you into the upper echelon of college football. Not just great or good, but elite. And I'm okay with the plan. I'm okay with the way that he runs a game. You man, say all you want about Jimbo and the way he calls a game, and some people feel like it's too conservative. We're always in it. Always. We're always in the game. He manages it so well from a clock perspective and a play calling perspective that it seems like we're never taken out of a game earlier than we should be because of it. And more times than not, it will work.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
I
I
completely
never,
agree in terms of, you're right, not wanting to be Mississippi State. I've seen that sentiment thrown around on Twitter, text sites, whatever tonight. Boy, look at what all we paid to not be better than Mississippi State. And that is such bullshit. This is the dumbest
what
thing a fan
idiots.
can say right now. Do you really want to trade programs with Mississippi State and where this program is and where that one is? Do you really think that they are better suited going forward than we are? I understand it's frustrating. And I understand that you're mad that we lost to that team when you feel like we should be better, but come on. You cannot honestly believe you would rather trade places with them right now. And that is the annoying thing. It's why we call this the Meltdown Show. It's why we get so sick of talking to the casuals, as you call them. Like, I don't know. What is it you really want? Because what you say you want is exactly what you say. It's going to get you Mississippi State. You want to you want to
Yeah,
you want to look 4 years down the road and say, yeah, I would have rather been Mississippi State. You think that's going to happen? Like it's not. And so I don't know. Yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm mad, but look, we've been telling you this was coming. So
we have. We've
I
been
don't
telling
know.
you. You can't keep losing players and not, just keep rolling different lineup out there every week, especially with a quarterback who just doesn't seem to quite have it and expect that it's going to get better. We got to get guys back. We have to. We got to survive next week. Ugh, got to
And I've
survive.
also heard a lot of
Oh,
nonsense.
wait.
Well, yeah, we'll get there in just a sec. What?
Okay. Nothing. Keep going.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that too about, well, I thought Jimbo was this great recruiter. Why are we falling apart with the backup quarterback, whatever? And look, it's not a completely unfair assessment, except to say, to understand what was going on during Jimbo's first recruiting cycle and kind of where we're at now. Zach was his
Yes.
first real quarterback recruit and wasn't really his first choice. Um, got there late in the recruiting cycle. We felt okay about the pickup at the time, but Jimbo didn't really expect to him to be the quarterback probably at this point. You know, like
Yeah.
Haynes King was
Look,
the guy last year in the backup. He was going to be the starter this year. You've got Connor Wegman coming in next year to be the backup to Haynes King with a year under his belt, and then you feel really good about
yes.
what happens
Yes.
if Haynes King goes down. It's a completely different ball game. Sucks that it's happening this year. You're totally right, but let's
Absolutely.
remember we're in year four.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't handle when people say, when I hear that kind of criticism of, well, shouldn't we have better players? Oh my God. Do you know what's coming? Do you know why the guys on the offensive line are freshmen? Do you know why? Because they actually are elite talents. All right. Jimbo got them here, but the plan was not to rely on them.
all of our offensive linemen are not freshmen, just so everybody knows. Like,
Not all of
there
them.
are upperclassmen who are not playing
They're
behind
not
these
playing.
freshmen because the freshmen are better.
They
Um,
are.
that's just where we're at.
But their potential is so much better,
Right.
right? And again, it goes back to the plan, right? Jimbo Fisher is trying to get a football team to November at a high level. That's what he does. All right. And if he looks at what's playing and goes, man, I could invest my time here and it might be somewhat better, or let's go, right? Let's let these guys loose and let them learn. And look, this thought came into my mind tonight uh, early, actually even before the game, that if I had known that Haynes King was going to be out for the first half of the season, okay, uh, I'm not so sure that this is not exactly what I would want to be going on right now. And the reason I say that is the offensive line has been in disarray every week, right? We're losing guys, we're playing different combinations like crazy.
Mhm.
I'm actually glad that Haynes King is not out there for that. to be frank with you. If I don't want him taking the shots and the bullets, to be honest. It might turn out pretty well if we can get a solid foundation underneath and get some guys that are playing well and get better, and he can come back into that.
Maybe if you cannot start the season 3-5, which
Correct.
so I don't know. We'll see. And
Which,
yeah,
by
you
the way,
mentioned earlier.
I want people to understand this. I do not expect that to happen. I don't.
Okay,
I think we're going to be 3-3, obviously, after next week. But the two teams after that, if they go out and they lose to those football teams,
oh
we do
Jesus,
have real problems.
right?
That would be really pretty bad. I don't think that will happen. They are better than those football teams, even in their current state. And if 3 weeks from now, when they do play Missouri, no, South Carolina first
Missouri
after the
first, then
bye.
South Carolina.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
South
Missouri first
Carolina.
after a bye
Uh,
week after Bama.
no,
No, they don't get the bye. Good
no.
Lord, I'm
Alabama,
losing my
Missouri,
mind.
South Carolina, then the bye,
Then
then
the bye.
Auburn. And
What?
best case scenario, you're looking at hoping Haynes King is able to practice during the bye week and then game week of Auburn. That is
Hmm.
absolute best case.
I don't know about that. That's not what I'm hearing. But anyway,
Oh,
we'll
are you
see.
hearing sooner or later?
I'm hearing possibly available to practice against South Carolina. The smart move would be to let the bye come through and play Missouri, but we'll see.
Okay. But if he can practice that week, that's even better.
And
But I
again, I
agree,
just
I
can't
would
keep the
not roll him
schedule
out there.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But anyway,
anyway,
well, you said, and I'm sorry, I want to get to this. You said earlier that you like the way Jimbo runs a game. We're never out of it. Blah blah blah. I don't know about that sentiment this week uh, with Alabama rolling in. I think it might get
hmm.
ugly early.
Well, yeah, I do think
We'll
it'll get
see.
ugly early. You know what? But Ole Miss was going to upset Alabama today and got their
Right,
asses handed to them.
right.
So you know what,
Arkansas
folks?
was a top 10 team, and exactly what you said was going to happen happened to Arkansas. So, look,
Yes.
um, I think we knew coming into the season that unless Haynes King was hugely successful and the offensive line gelled like immediately, A&M was nowhere close to being on Alabama or Georgia's level or something like that. But God, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could get ugly. I'm not looking
No,
forward to it.
look, it will get ugly. I think it absolutely will. It would shock me if it didn't. And we just have to be prepared for that, people. We got to weather the storm, just like we've been saying for a couple of weeks. It just keeps getting worse, and from a personnel standpoint. So, yeah, I think we're going to
Yeah,
be 3-3. We're going to take a pretty nasty shot next weekend, and then, in my view, the rest of the season starts, and it kind of starts over, and
yeah,
we'll see where we go from there. Uh, yeah, we actually have some folks watching. Appreciate it.
yeah.
A lot of
I have to
questions
catch up
rolling
on the
in.
comments real quick, just because someone says, "How was there ever a QB competition in camp?" To which we have already covered several minutes ago. There wasn't. We don't think. Whatever.
Nope,
We've also
we do
supposedly
not.
been sent photographic evidence of Baylor Cup being in the game by one of our listeners. However, what I've been sent is a photograph of Baylor Cup standing next to Jimbo Fisher during a TV timeout. So try again, Brendan. Um, Football players stand next to Jimbo Fisher all the time when they're not in a football game. So, not saying I don't believe you, but very poor effort on your part. So, give it another one.
Yeah.
Sorry, full disclosure. I am drinking trash bourbon, as is our way after a loss. But I may have had some trash bourbon before the game was over as well. So, anyway,
Well, that was actually a good strategy. I thought about doing that as well because, I will tell you, one of the most helpless feelings in the world was to get that ball back with a couple of minutes to go and think we've got to go 80. And I just didn't feel it. at all.
Nope.
I was like, that this
No.
is not no, because Mississippi State had zero respect for the quarterback on that drive.
Right.
Zero.
Yep.
They decided we're just going to come at you. They stuffed the run on first down because they had no fear at all, and then they just kept coming. And I thought it was poetic. I thought the safety was poetic. It
I
kind of
did. What I imagined was the very last ounce of hope that Calzada was going to get it together and was maybe growing up a little bit as the game. I imagined that little glimmer of hope just dissolving into thin air, like Thanos in one of them Avengers movies or something, just turning to dust, and there it went.
yeah,
With
absolutely.
the safety, it's over. Everybody, over.
Look, God, man. I mean, you and I exchanged some thoughts on this. What's going
I'm
on
sorry,
here?
just Brendan, one of our listener has just conceded that that Cup did not make it into the game. He was confused,
It's all good.
so
It's all
it's all
cool,
good.
Brendan. We forgive you. So, Steve, thanks for watching. Question: Is it a bad idea to play someone else in the game next week at QB? And you're not saying start somebody else. He's just asking, should somebody else play? Yeah. I mean, if it's like tossing a steak over the fence at the zoo in the lion's cage. I think why not throw our preferred walk-on QB out there against Bama? I actually think we should
Against
start him.
Alabama,
I think we should start him. Because I'll be honest,
because then
Steve,
you
I
can
actually really
just
like this idea. I really
turn
do
off the
because
television and
I think
go
it could
play
save
around the
us
golf or
all.
something.
Well, look, what is Alabama going to do to Zach Calzada? And that's if there is a huge fear about those next couple of games, which I think is maybe what you were trying to say earlier. It could get a lot worse for Zach Calzada next week and really impact what happens in those next two games. From his perspective, that guy's gonna, he's
Yeah,
already seeing ghosts. He's
I see
already
what you're saying, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna bench the guy and then
no.
have Alabama tear a new one into Blake Boss, and then be like, "Go back out there, Zach." Like, you think that's not gonna destroy his confidence? I don't know. I don't think.
What confidence,
Okay,
man?
all
So this
right.
is that's the trash
This is such
bourbon
a great
talking. I'm really
show.
sorry, guys. This is yeah. Well, look, it couldn't be that bad because people are pissed and they're watching. Okay,
Are you
so
sure?
I am sure we had
Okay.
7 on online giving us a view at the same time. That's gonna be like a
Wow.
record. Yeah, but look, here's what I will tell
Unbelievable.
you guys that are listening. Look around college football. Look at what happened again today. Man, I know a lot of football teams that do not look good. Okay, teams that had Heisman Trophy preseason frontrunners, teams that have played crap opponents, teams that came in the top 5, the top 10. They lost football games or they looked like trash again today. Okay, and you know what? You know what those teams actually have that we don't have? They have their players and they still look like trash. And
Right.
so you and I kind of exchanged some thoughts on this earlier because I was excited to see Oregon go down. You're like, well, it doesn't matter. It does matter because narratives emerge. And
Yes.
look, I'm not trying to get in an argument. I'm just trying to tell people we A&M is in a rough spot right
Hmm.
now, and Jimbo is going to have to get us out of it as this season goes on. But it helps when those other teams are struggling and can't turn around and leverage the situation that we are in right now because they can't.
Yep.
Who's going to leverage that right now? Oklahoma's got their hands full.
Yep. Well, and you're right. You want to talk about narratives emerging. I fully expect Texas to beat Oklahoma next week. It's next
I
week,
do
isn't
too.
it? Yeah.
Well, you know
And
what?
you want to see
You know
narratives
what?
emerging.
Man, you say that, but I watched them play TCU today. Okay, and they got real hot, and they struggled with TCU.
Yeah, they
Struggled
did.
with him. And if not for a horrible targeting call, TCU that changed the momentum in that football game in the first half. And look, TCU had plenty of time to claw their way back in it, and they did. But they struggle. Texas struggled with TCU,
And
and
let's be honest, Dugan is a fine, serviceable quarterback that is not of the quality that TCU has had when they've had good teams, right?
that is true.
Um,
For
just,
real, for real.
for real. So yeah, but regardless, maybe they pull it off, and you're right. Narratives will emerge. Uh, I've said, are we staring 3-5 in the face? You don't think so? Let's be honest. If we get to 5-3, and you can get Haynes King back, then there are four very winnable games left on the schedule, and a 9-3 A&M team that gets uh, a nice bowl win to get to 10-3 is very well positioned going
Yeah,
into next year to get a lot of hype.
absolutely. Yes.
So,
The big question mark for that football team, the 2022 version of A&M football,
mhm,
is you do lose a lot on the defensive side. You do, okay, but you don't lose all of it. And the talent that's coming in and is already there, playing a lot of minutes and a lot of football right now, is young talent and
mhm,
showing up. Right? We didn't have Shamar Turner today. That did hurt when you're only rushing
it
three. Our
did.
guys were getting tired. It hurt.
Yeah,
And, you know, Tyreek Chappelle, it looks great. I think he looks really good.
I agree.
Okay, that's true
Yeah,
freshman. True freshman.
yeah.
Um, Antonio Johnson,
Yeah, you got both of those guys back. Chapel, whatever. He
McKinley
absolutely
Jackson.
looks like the kind of dynamic defensive back that we need to be
Yes.
opposite Jalen Jones. He looks like his head's spinning a little bit, but you're like, with a year under his belt, guy's going to be playing faster. He's going to be very good.
Yeah. So, I do think, yeah, these other teams losing, Florida, thanks, Brendan, Florida, Notre Dame,
Yes,
Oregon,
Oregon.
these are all the teams that you're fighting against in that top 10. Okay, for the long haul, guys, for the long
Hmm.
haul, being in that top 10, cracking into that top 5, contending to get into that third or fourth playoff spot, while you
Hmm.
continue to stack talented classes on top of talented classes. Those are the guys right there that you're competing with for recruits. Okay, so, it is important that they struggle with all of their bullets in their gun. Okay, so Spencer Rattler is out there playing. Florida's got both of their quarterbacks available. Notre Dame's got their guy. Oregon has their guy. Okay, so, and we don't have our guy. Okay, and we don't have a lot of pieces around him. So, look, we've said it a million times today. Hold on, we got to weather this storm somehow. We got to do it. Uh, where do we go,
Oh,
Casey? Where do we go with this show? You had enough? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we've got a commenter just said, Jimbo will have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to be 9-3. Do you think that's a rabbit out of the hat? Uh, Provided Haynes King comes back by Auburn, have you seen anything from Auburn today or LSU so far, or even Ole Miss this year, that makes you think it's a rabbit out of the hat to beat those teams? I mean,
Most
genuinely?
of the teams you just mentioned, no. I do think that Ole Miss is
Oh
going to
yeah,
be a
right.
really tough out for us, even if
Hmm.
we have everybody out and we're playing at a high level. I thought that coming into the season. I thought,
Right.
if we were lucky enough to get rolling and have one loss or zero losses, I thought Ole Miss was the scariest game on that schedule, not named Alabama. Everybody
Still
else,
are.
if we get healthy and we can practice and we can get guys back that we need back, no, I don't think it's a rabbit out of the hat to go 9-3. I don't. Um, it can swing 9-3, 8-4, pretty easy.
Sure.
But you know, I, I honestly thought we would get the one tonight. Through the week, like we said. But then
Hmm.
just seeing what's out, man, didn't feel good. So it's going to be It's starting to. We said last week that 2017 Florida State was a ways off. what that season looked like. We didn't feel like we were there yet. I'm starting to feel a little bit more like that kind of season could be ahead of us, where we really struggle, and it just doesn't look good until late in the season. And we'll see. I think after Alabama, that those 2 weeks after that, that's going to tell us everything about where we're going to finish.
Mm. I think you're
Mm.
right. I think wherever we finish, though, um, I think it probably lines up for us to get an overmatched bowl opponent. Um, if this team somehow gets to 9-3, I think you throttle whoever you end up getting matched up against, just based on what I've seen out in the other, the rest of the college football world. I think
Yeah.
with what we're seeing, Florida going down today and everything, like you got a good chance at a New Year's Six bowl if you do that. Um,
It seems so far out of reach
it
at
does
this
seem so
moment,
far out of reach.
but you're right. You actually are
If you
right
if you
about that.
do it, let's
Yes.
not say I'm predicting that, but the same goes for 8-4. If like you said, Ole Miss is a very tough matchup, even if you've got it rolling. Best case scenario, that's a losable game. And God, if an 8-4 A&M squad that only loses to Ole Miss and now Alabama, going forward, that team's going to throttle whoever they get matched up against because of the way the bowl games are slotted. So,
Yeah.
um,
Which, by
you
the
know,
way, what you just said, all right, I don't want people to hear that. 8-4, and you lose to Alabama next week, and then you lose to Ole Miss late in the season. Would you take that right now?
yes,
If I gave that to you, you're taking it?
I'm taking it.
I would take it.
I'm
I
taking
would
it.
absolutely take it where this football
Hmm.
team is right now. And what's sad, because let's bookmark this, because if that's how it plays out, you're gonna still have a lot of people
You're going to be
just
very frustrated.
absolutely very frustrated, angry.
Melting
We're not
down,
getting
you
our
would say.
melting down. That's right, and you shouldn't be. But that's college football, man. Oh, man, can I just? I'm gonna say this. You know, most of the year, 6 months out of the year, is dark and cold and desolate because we don't have college football, right? When we are now 5 games in, we're 5 games in, they're gone. We only have so many left. People try to enjoy just what every Saturday that we have a football game. I know it's frustrating. You want to be frustrated. I actually think they want to be frustrated about things. Um, enjoy the ride, enjoy the process. I'm trying. I think it's all about expectations, right? Like I'm watching this game tonight, looking for things to be excited about. Not really so much focused on the win. I mean, you want to win, and you're getting nervous because it's getting close as it's coming down to the wire. But coming into that game thinking, all right, this is probably not going to work out. We're probably not going to win this game. So what am I looking for? What do I want to see? I want to see some growth. I want to see some guys get better. I did see some of that tonight. I just didn't see enough of it from enough of them. And maybe as we stack up these games over the next few weeks, we'll start to see some more of it and feel better. But yeah, hang in there, everybody. And thanks for watching. Closing thoughts?
No,
Just the awkward wave.
just the awkward
Everybody
way.
have a fantastic week. It's Bama week. God help us on the Meltdown Show.
All right.